Hi to everyone. In the first video of this lesson, the secret of work, we saw Swami Vivekananda explaining the things that guides a man's character. I repeat once again. Okay, you can recollect. In the essay, The Secret of Work, Swami Vivekananda explains the things that guide a man's character. Yes, I hope you have gone through the first part of it, first video, and gone through the answers too, and studied them, watched the video several times, etc. and etc. Okay, let us go on with the lesson. Take the textbook, please, all of you. Look in the textbook. Page number 16, second paragraph. Okay, I repeat. Page number 16, paragraph number 2. As the tortoise tucks its feet and head inside the shell, we know the character of a tortoise. It may tuck its head inside the shell, and you may kill it and break into pieces. Even if you may kill it and break it into pieces, yet it will not come out. The tortoise will not come out. Inherent tendencies, how it controls a man's character, we saw in the last video. It's a continuation of that. You can see in your own experience. So the tendencies that you develop will make you develop your own character. Take the example of a tortoise. You may break it, beat it, even if you kill it, it will not come out. The tortoise will not come out. Even so, the character of that man who has control over his motives, the character of a man who is able to control his motives and organs, is unchangeably established. His character is unchangeably established. It will not be changed. It is established unchangeably. What kind of man? Who has control over his motives. Whoever has control, who can control his motives, his character is unchangeably established. Yes, he controls his own inner forces. He controls. He is able to control his own inner forces, and nothing can draw them out against his will. Nothing can draw them out against his own will. Yes, he is strong in his willpower and his determination. By this continuous reflex of good thoughts, the last video I told you, see, what you think that you would speak, what you speak you would do. Thoughts, words and deeds are interconnected, connected with each other. One is related to another one. What is in your mind comes in your words. What you speak generally you may perform, or your deeds are what you are speaking. Yes, thoughts, words and deeds. See, by his continuous reflex of good thoughts. So, continuously, if he thinks good thoughts, good impressions moving over surface of the mind, in his mind, always good impressions moving. You see, the tendency for doing good become so strong when he thinks good thoughts, the tendency to do good becomes so strong, too strong. And as a result, we feel able to control the indriyas. As a result of that, we would be able to control our indriyas. We know Panchindriyas. Is it not so? Yes, you know it. Okay, we are able to control our sense organs because we have always thought good thoughts. So as a result of our thinking good thoughts, we are able to control our indriyas, sense organs, and the nerves, and that is indriyas. Our sense organs we are able to control. As we are able to, as we are having good thoughts always, as we are able to think good thoughts, our sense organs we are able to control. Yes, this alone will character be established. In this way alone, a man's character stands to be established. For that, you have to think good thoughts continuously. So, that inherent tendencies will make you do always good things. In that way, your character is established. Then alone a man gets to truth. Only this way, in this way, that a man is able to get to truth. Such a man is safe forever. Such kind of a man is safe forever. A man who thinks always good thoughts, yes, he is safe forever because his character is established. Okay, he cannot do any evil. Such a man can never do any evil. You may place him in any company, there will be no danger for him. Even if he is in the company of bad people too, nothing can affect him. Yes, there will be no danger for him. There is a still higher state than having this good tendency. The author goes on to say that there is still a higher state than having this good tendency, and that is the desire for liberation. We move on. The higher state of it is to get oneself liberated. Liberation means freedom. Get oneself freed from. There is a higher state of one's character. There is a liberation. Liberate means get oneself freed from. Yes, liberation means full freedom. Yes, liberation means full freedom. Freedom from the bondage of good as well as from the bondage of evil. So, understand clearly, bondage, slavery. Bondage of good as well as evil. One must be able to free himself, get him liberated from the evils of, good as well as evil, from the bondage of good as well as evil. Yes, let us continue. A golden chain is as much a chain as an iron one. A chain, if it is made of gold, silver, copper or iron, basically a chain is a chain. A chain is a chain. If it is made of gold, silver, copper or iron, after all, a chain is a chain. There is a thorn in my finger, for another example, take for example, imagine that I have a thorn in my finger and I use another one to take the first one out. I use another thorn to take the first one out. And when I have taken it out, I throw both of them aside. Once I have taken the thorn in my finger, you see, I throw both the thorns out. Yes, I have no necessity for keeping the second thorn. After all, a thorn is a thorn. Though I use it as a tool to take the first thorn out. When the work is over, I should throw it out because it's a thorn after all. Yes, because both are thorns after all. First one which harmed me, second one which helped me, both are thorns. Yes, a thorn is a thorn after all. But harmed me or helped me makes no difference. When the use is over, I must throw them out. So, the bad tendencies are to be counteracted by good ones. Mark it clearly. The bad tendencies are to be counteracted by good ones. And the bad impressions on the mind should be removed by fresh wave of good ones. Even if you have some bad impressions, it should be removed by a fresh wave of good impressions. Yes, until all that is evil almost disappears. Until all the evil, that is in my mind is disappeared or is subdued and held in control in a corner of the mind. Until it is held in a corner of the mind. But after that, the good tendencies have to be conquered. After controlling the evil tendencies, I must be able to control the good tendencies also. Thus, the attached becomes unattached. Understand very clearly? The attached becomes unattached. When you do something, there should be no attachment. We should become unattached. Yes, work, but let not the action or the thought produce a deep impression on the mind. Whatever work you do, you should not make a deep impression on the mind, and you must be unattached. Otherwise, you will be affected by the good impressions as well as the bad. So you must be freed yourself. Liberation. One must be able to free himself from attachment of good activities as well as bad activities. Good and evil. So a man must be able to get himself unattached for all kinds of works. If it is good or bad. Okay, let the ripples come and go. Let the huge actions proceed from the muscles and the brain. But let them not make any deep impression on the soul. You see? So, let any activity that you perform, you see, let it not make any deep impression on your mind or in your soul. Understand clearly what is being told. A man must be unattached. Whether it is an action that is good or evil. So you must free yourself, get yourself liberated, freed from the effects of the attachment of good activities as well as evil. For example, take the example of a cashier in a bank. See, you all like currency notes, especially fresh notes. When you come, you look at it, you keep it safe. But think of a cashier in a bank. He performs his duties. When he receives money from a customer, he counts it, keeps in the place where it should be kept, and bundles it and give it to someone else for further proceedings. He has no attachments towards the currency that he receives. And when he gives to a customer nice bundles of rupees or currency notes, he has no attachment or detachment towards the currency he is dealing with no attachment. He does not like his duty, that's all. He performs his duties with no attachment. So he must be freed from any kind of attachment. That is liberation. So when you do a work, you must not be attached to it. But it brings is a good work or bad work, good or evil, whatever be, you must be able to liberate yourself from the bondage, from the slavery. Any work that you do will have some effects on you. Whereas work is good, good effects, bad, bad effects. That we have already seen. But a higher level of it is liberation. One must be able to free himself from the bondage of slavery of attachment. So a work should be done with no attachment at all. I hope it is clear to you. Let's move on to the next paragraph. How can this be done? How can it be? We see that the impression of any action to which we get attached remains. The impression of any action that we do, to which we are attached, we have attachment, it will remain there, it will not go away. I may meet hundreds of persons during the day, a particular day. I might have met so many people, even hundreds. And among them meet also one whom I love. Among all the people, there might be someone whom I love. And when I retire at night, I may try to think of all the faces I saw. In the evening, in the night, during the night, I may recollect all the faces I saw during the day. And the face which I met perhaps only for 1 minute and which I loved. All the others have vanished. All the other faces I have met during the day will disappear from my mind. One will remain, which made a deep impression in my mind because I love him. That is what. See, that will remain, which makes a deep impression in your mind. Yes. All the others have vanished. My attachment to this particular person caused a deeper impression. It is my attachment that caused a deeper impression on my mind than all the other faces. Physiologically, the impressions have all been the same. Exactly. You see, all impressions were same, but one was there whom I loved. So he was able to make a deep impression in my mind. That will remain in my mind and the remaining will go away. That is what. If there is attachment, it will not leave you. It will remain a longer period or even forever. Therefore, be unattached. There is a mantra Swami Vivekananda is telling. There is a mantra, I repeat. Vivekananda is telling, be unattached to whatever work that we do. Whatever work we do, whether it is a good work or bad work, whatever be unattached. Let the brain centers work, directs the work that we do, work incessantly. We saw in Bhagavad Gita, we are asked to work incessantly. But let not the mind be affected. When you do a work, your mind should not be affected. Work as if you were a stranger in this land. Whenever you do a work, you should imagine that you are a stranger in this land, a sojourner. Sojourner means short journey. Our life itself is a short journey, according to sannyasis especially. Okay now? Yes, work incessantly. I told you in the beginning, is it not so? Swami Vivekananda. Sannyasis always stand in a spiritual arena, spiritual field, and they think things of our spirit, our mind, etc., not of the physical world. So, according to them, our life itself is a sojourn, a short journey. Work incessantly, but do not bind yourself. Yes, whenever you do some work, that work should not bind you, control you. You should not be attached. Bondage is terrible. Otherwise, that work will make you a slave. Bondage means slavery. This world is not our habitation, means dwelling place. This is not a permanent place for us. It is only a short journey of life. It is only one of the many stages through which we are passing. This world itself is many of the stages that we are passing through, according to Swami Vivekananda. The summary is that work incessantly, but be unattached to whatever work you do. Should not be attached to any kind of work. Yes, let's continue. The gist of this teaching is that, the gist means summary. The summary of the entire teaching is that you should work like a master, not like a slave. Yes, you can do your work in two ways. either like a master or like a slave. Work incessantly, but do not do slave's work. Vivekananda says that we should not do the work of a slave. Do you not see how everybody works? 1 minute you observe how everybody works. Nobody can be altogether rested. Nobody can take rest completely. 90% of people of mankind work like slaves. Almost 90%, almost all people, they work like slaves. And result is misery. See, working like slaves, the result is misery. Misery means suffering, sadness. It is selfish work. Selfish in the sense that not selfless. Selfless means what? We don't expect anything in return. Selfish means we want something, we are selfish. Okay, now? So we expect something in return, we become selfish. Selfless means not thinking of self, selfless. So what should be selfless? Yes. So it is all selfish work. The work that we do, men do, all kinds of work. They are all selfish work. Means it is not selfless. Work through freedom means liberate yourself. That's what the author means. So liberation means with no attachment. So it should not be selfish work. Working not for any aim, purpose, motto or goal. It should be selfless work. Yes. Work through freedom. That means your work should be, unattached, and there should be liberation. That means freedom. That means with no attachment at all. Work through love. So you do your work because of love. Do you understand it? What is meant by love in this connection? For example, think you get up early in the morning at 5:30. Your mother woke up before you to prepare tiffin and lunch packet and all. When you wake up, you find your mother in the kitchen. She is working very hard. Is it not so? There might be a helper in the kitchen also. Someone to help. Maybe a servant, helper. The servant does the work in the same way as your mother does. Your servant is a paid employee. She works for her salary. But your mother works for no salary, selfless, but out of love towards you. She has no attachments towards the work that she does. She works early in the morning or whatever work she does. It is not for any profit motive. It is not for anything, any expectation. She works because of love. The result of selfless work is love. The same work may be done by your worker, your servant. She will receive her salary every month. And she works not out of love, but selfish work. Because she expects something in return. Her wages, her salary, her reward, her remuneration. Compare both the work of your mother and the work of your servant. Servant does more work than your mother. Heavy work, hard work, she would do. Is it not so? Yes. But sometimes your mother might do more work than your servant. Still, she does not expect anything in return. Her work is selfless. She works out of love. That is what the work should be, for love, not for profit, not selfish work. It should be selfless. That is the connection between work and love. You do your work with no attachment. Out of love, you must do it. Yes, selfless work. Okay, continue it. Let us continue. Yes. The word love is very difficult to understand. The author says, in this connection, the word love, it is very difficult to understand. Love never comes until there is freedom. If you are working like a slave, there will be no love. There is no true love possible in the slave. I explained just now. A slave means bondage. He works not out of love, but selfish work. If you buy a slave and tie him down in chains and make him work for you, he will work like a drudge. Here means slave. Drudge means actually heavy, difficult job, any heavy task. Here it means slave. So, your servant would work like a slave. But there will be no love in him. When he does some work, there is no love in him. His work is selfish. He expects his salary, his wages, his remuneration. Yes. So, when we ourselves work for things of the world as slaves, when we do some work in expectation of something like slave, there can be no love in us. That work will have no love, no connection with love at all. And our work is not true work. Then our work will not become a true work. Because the work becomes true work only if there is love. Yes, you should work for love, not a selfish work. This is true of work done for relatives and friends. It's true of all the work that you do for your friends and relatives. Take for example, you are invited to participate in a birthday party of your friend. When you reach there, you see things are not arranged in a proper way, you help them. You do it with happiness, with pleasure. Is it not so? You may work very hard, but you never feel tired because you expect nothing in return. And when you work, you feel happy. And you do the work out of love towards a friend. That is unattached work. Let us continue. Yes, the work that you do for your relatives and friends, it is true work done for our own selves. Selfish work is a slave's work. When you do work out of a selfish interest, it is not true work, it is a work of a slave. And here is a test. Here is an example. Every act of love brings happiness. If you work out of love, that work will bring you happiness. There is no act of love which does not bring peace and blessedness in its reaction. Yes, when you do out of love, it will bring in its way peace and blessedness. You become blessed by the work that you do. Because you are doing selfless work with no attachment. Real existence, real knowledge and real love are eternally connected with one another. These three things are for everlastingly connected together. Let us see what are they? Real existence, real knowledge and real love are interconnected, are connected forever. Yes. And three in one. That is where one of them is, the others also must be. One cannot be without the other one. That is a three in one, all together only. You see? There are three aspects of the one without the second. That means one cannot exist without the others. Existence, knowledge and happiness. Bliss means happiness or love. Okay, existence, knowledge and happiness comes together. One cannot exist or remain without the others. The summary of the entire paragraph is that you should do selfless work with no attachment. You do it out of love, not for any selfish motive. Is it clear to you? Work incessantly, but your work should be selfless, with no attachment. And do it out of love. Yes, and that love will bring you happiness. Yes, that love that you do it, the work that you do it out of love will bring you happiness. I repeat, the work that you do out of love will bring you happiness. Let us continue. Krishna says, look at me, Arjuna. I told Bhagavad Gita. See, Krishna, charioteer, Arjuna, coming to the battlefield. I told the history all. Okay? Do you remember that? But just see the first video once again. Krishna says, look at me, Arjuna. If I stop from work for one moment, the whole universe will die. I am the one who controls the entire universe. If I stop my work, the entire universe will collapse. I have nothing to gain from work. I have nothing to gain from the work that I do. I am the one Lord. But why do I work? Though I am the Lord of the universe, I do my work. Because I love the world. I do my work selfless. Because I love the world. It's a love towards the world that makes me do my work. Though I am the Lord of the universe, I do my duties, I do my work because I love this universe, I love this world. God is unattached. Yes, even God does his work. And when he works, he is unattached. The same idea continued. Okay, now the God is unattached when he works because he loves. He is unattached because he loves. That real love makes us unattached. The real love makes us unattached towards the work that we do. Let's continue. To attain this unattachment is almost a life work. It is not easy to get this unattachments towards the work that we do. Yes, it is not so easy, very difficult. You see? Yes. But as soon as we have reached this point, we have attained the goal of love. Once you attain this unattachment, we will attain the goal of love, the aim of love, the motto of love, and become free. Liberation. We become free from the work that we do. No attachment. Whether work is good or bad, difficult or easy, whatever be. No attachment. And we are able to liberate ourselves. Yes. The bondage of nature falls from us. There is no bondage. There is no slavery of the work that we do. And we see nature as she is. We are able to see nature as it is or as she is. The summary, the gist of the paragraph is that we must get unattached. I mean, from whatever work that we do, we should be able to get that unattachment. And we should do selfless work and get ourselves liberated. Yes, because we are doing the work out of love, not for any selfish interest or selfish motives. Is it clear to you? I hope it is clear. Do you ask anything from your children in return for what you have given them? Think of your parents. They give you whatever you need, whatever you ask. Even without asking, they give you. I mean, do they ask anything in return? No. They feel happy when they give something to you. Same way you too also. See, you invite your friends for a birthday party. And when your friends receive your reception, good food, etc., etc., you feel happy when they receive. They receive. When you give, you feel happy. Because you give out of love towards them, not expecting anything in return. Okay, now? So whenever you do some work, you must not expect anything in return. That is selfless. Selfless work, unattached, should be done out of love. The work should be done out of love. And it should be selfless. And you must be unattached. Then you will be able to liberate yourself, free yourself from the bondage of work, whatever work that you do. Sum total is this. You see, the secret of work is this. According to Swami Vivekananda, this is the secret of work. What is that? One must be able to get unattachment because he is doing out of love, not for any selfish motive. See the line once again? Yes. Do you ask anything from your children in return for what you have given them? It is your duty to work for them. And there the matter ends. When your parents give you something, do some work for you, they don't expect anything in return. There the matter ends. In whatever you do for a particular person, a city or a state, assume the same attitude towards it as you have towards your children. When you do something for your friends, for your society, for your country, don't expect anything in return. Yes. Okay. So, expect nothing in return when you do some work. Whatever work that you do, expect nothing in return. Selfless work with no attachment. You do it out of love. Then you are able to free yourself from the bondage of, work, whatever be good or evil. Okay, na? So be unattached. Let your work be selfless. Do it out of love. Expect nothing in return. That is the secret of work. Okay, work incessantly, but do it out of love, expecting nothing in return. Okay, if you can invariably take the position of a giver. Yes, when you do, you take the position of a giver, in which everything given by you is free offering to the world. Whatever work you do, you don't expect anything in return. You are a giver, expecting nothing in return. Without any thought of return, your work will bring you no attachment. When you expect nothing in return, the work will bring you no attachment. Attachment comes only where we expect a return. If only you expect something in return, that there is the question of attachment. So we are coming to the last paragraph of our essay. If working like slaves result in selfishness and attachment, when you work like slave, it will bring you what? Selfishness and attachment. If you expect something in return, you are working like a slave, you become attached. Working as masters of our own mind gives rise to the bliss of non-attachment. Bliss, happiness of non-attachment. When you do a selfless work with no attachment, it will give you the bliss, the happiness of non-attachment. Yes, we often talk of right and justice. He comes to another important point. What's that? We always talk of right and wrong, and justice, just things, justice, doing justice. Okay now. But we find that in the world, right and justice are mere baby's talk. Not reality. In reality, it is not there. Nothing serious, baby talk. Okay now. So in the world, we can find that real justice not there. Okay, you can find that justice and right. Why? There are two things which guide the conduct of men. That is might and mercy. Swami Vivekananda says that two things control conduct, the conduct and behavior of a man. That is might and mercy. Might means power, might is right. Okay now. Mercy means showing sympathy and kindness towards others. Might and mercy. Let's continue. Yes. The exercise of might is invariably the exercise of selfishness. So if you are powerful, if you are strong, or if you are having that ability to control others, that is a exercise of selfishness. All men and women try to make the most of whatever power or advantage they have. They make use of whatever power, might or advantage they have. Mercy is heaven itself. Mercy, showing mercy to others, kindness to others, is heaven itself. See, godliness, that is heaven itself. So showing mercy to others is in fact heaven itself. You see, godliness. Yes, to be good we have all to be merciful. Actually, we should all be merciful. Even justice and right should stand on mercy. Even justice and right stand on mercy. Yes, all thought of obtaining return for the work we do hinders our spiritual progress. If we expect something in return for that work which we do, it hinders, means prevents, objects. You see, our spiritual progress. Our spiritual progress is hindered if we expect something in return for the work that we do. Nay, in the end it brings misery. If the work is selfish, expecting something in return, it will bring misery. Whereas if the work is selfless, it will bring happiness. That's the difference. Selfish work brings a misery, whereas selfless work brings you happiness. Yes. Okay. There is another way in which the idea of mercy and selfless charity can be put into practice. There's another way. What is that? There is by looking upon work as a worship. Work as worship means worshipping God. Let us see that here we give up all the fruits of our work unto the Lord. Karmanye vadigarasya ma paleshu kadajana. Reward will be given by God. Don't expect any reward for the work that we do. The first video beginning itself I told. Okay, now Krishna advised Arjuna. Karmanye vadigarasya. Do your duty. Don't expect reward. Yes, work is worship. So the reward you submit to God. Let God give all the reward that you deserve. Yes, and worshiping Him. Let us worship God and God will give you reward. Okay. Thus we have no right to expect anything from mankind for the work we do. So God will give you reward. So we have no right of expecting anything from your friends, relatives, or even mankind. You should not expect that, because reward will be given by God. Work is worship. In a way, by working, we are worshipping God. Yes, work is worship. By working, by doing your duties, you are worshipping God. Yes, the Lord Himself works incessantly and He is without any attachment. Even Lord God is working with no attachment. Just as water cannot wet lotus leaf. Best example. See, water drops will fall on lotus leaf, but that water will not, wet the leaf. You might have seen. Okay, now? So, unattachment. In the same way, as water cannot wet a lotus leaf, so work cannot bind unselfish man. No work can bound. Okay, an unselfish man by giving rise to attachment to results. So he should not expect any result. He is unattached. The selfless and unattached man may live in the very heart of a crowded and sinful city. The selfless man who is unattached, he may live in the middle of a sinful city. He will not be touched by sin. There is a spelling mistake in that word. It is not right, it is not. He will not be touched by sin. Correct that word. This is a printing mistake. Yes, though he lives in a sinful city, he will not be touched by sin, because he is unattached, he is selfless, and he is able to free himself from bondage of the work, slavery of the work, because he does it selfless, unattached, out of love, expecting nothing in return. That is what Vivekananda says in this essay, The Secret of Work. You see, selfless work, unattached, doing out of love, expecting nothing in return. That selfless man, even though he is in a sinful city, he will not be touched by any kind of sins. In the same way that water cannot wet a lotus leaf. So, Vivekananda advises everyone to be unattached towards the work that we do. Do it selfless, with no attachment, out of love, expecting nothing in return. Here comes our essay. Okay, so go through it several times. Study the annotations and short questions too, word meanings too. Okay, and prepare the answers. Okay, thank you.